Everybody, my name is Derek Peterson from New and Dangerous Opinions. There seems to be some battles raging online right now about these different grifters fighting over domain names and brands and things like that. So I thought I would do all that really matters in these discussions, by the way, at the end of the day, doesn't matter who owns what domain name at the end of the day, right? If you own a domain name, .com, .net, .whatever, it doesn't matter, right? All that really matters is trademark at the end of the day. Domains, the government doesn't really consider extensions like as unique things, right? So .com, .net is just kind of ignored, like a LLC or an Inc. Following. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is the actual name. So all that matters, and you can register a company. Like I could create an LLC here called, Apple, right? Or Microsoft, okay, if I wanted to. It doesn't matter, right? You can create an LLC. You can't do business in the same categories as like Microsoft computers would do business in, because that would be a trademark violation. Those are federal, right? You can set up any company name though, as long as there's not a company already called Microsoft. In my state, then I can create another company called Microsoft. It doesn't really matter. So let's look at how to do a trademark search. You go to uspto.gov. It's a really good website. I mean, the uspto.gov, the Patent Trademark Office, is a really well-run government office, honestly. And I'm not a government kind of guy, but the Trademark Office, the Patent Trademark Office, is really, really cool. And I went up there for a vacation one time for a week and spent every single day in the patent office library, like, I don't know, 20 years ago. That was really before all this internet though, but it's very cool stuff. I mean, it's a really well-run group, and customer support is awesome, right? When you call up to get help with applications and things like that, it's really well-run government organization. So let's do a trademark search. Again, go to uspto.gov. Just point to trademark or click on it. Click on searching trademarks. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. And then you're going to go into what's called the test database. Okay, so just click on search our trademark database. And there's different types of searches you can do. The easiest thing is just to do a basic word search. And you can refine this search. You can either just only check trademarks that are alive, that still exist, that are currently either registered or in an application process, or you can click dead ones only, right? So ones that have already been either rejected or abandoned for whatever reason. So I just leave it. I just leave it both because it's always interesting. So let's do a search for this latest battle, Subverse. So you just type in the word that you want to search, hit submit query, and then you'll get all of the trademarks and registration or applications that are currently in process for that term, Subverse. Okay. So you can see there's 4 marks that have been applied so far. 2 are dead. Okay. So let's check out those. Let's see who these were. So you can see here, this one was for snowboards in class 28, right? There's like 50 classes. Class is basically just a category. I don't want to get in too deep into all this, but it's just a category of type of description of your business, of your service or product, right? The first 10 or 20, the first 15 or 20, I think, are products, and then the rest of them are service offerings, okay? So this is just a category of a product. So I guess it's the first 30 or so are products. So he filed under one class, you can see there, and just go back again, and let's look at the other one he did. And again, same guy, this Curtis Harrington, I guess, and dress shirts and shoes. This one I was just looking at. Pants, dress shirt, shoes, socks. Okay. Class 25. And then we have a couple other ones here that are live. Okay, these are the ones that really matter. These have been abandoned. You can see here what you do is when you click on a trademark. So you're looking at this mark, right? This was actually registered, right? Because you can see it had a registration assigned to it right here. Okay, so this had a registration number assigned. See these two right here, that means that there's still an application process. Okay, these two were actually registered at one point, and then were either probably rejected. Sometimes a business goes out of business and, owners pass away and things like that. And then the thing just, you have to renew it like every 10 years or so. So you click on the TSDR here, right? Excuse me. And then here you can see this will be all the information about the mark. Okay, so you can look at the prosecution history is always interesting. Okay, so this was first registered in May 22nd, 2002. And then it went through as a notice of publication, published for opposition, registered principal, case file. And then you can see 7 years later, it was canceled for whatever reason. Okay, so you hit the 8-year renewal or 6-year renewal, and they didn't renew, and it just canceled out. So the business went out of business. So, the owner just lost interest or whatever happened. Or he forgot to file sometimes too, right? I've done that a lot of times, actually, on several different old marks that I had back in the day, which is frustrating because you got to start all over. All right, so those two are dead. All right, so now let's look at the two that are alive. I already know what order they are in, so let's do it like this. So that's the one I want to look at second. So let's look at this one first. All right, so this guy, he filed under 3 different classes, 09, 41, which is what you typically do, and 42, which are pretty standard classes when you're doing internet-related type things. So this guy's filed under classes 41 and 42. So again, you can file a trademark. Like I could file a trademark for Subverse right now, even if there was 50 different registrations out there, as long as I filed under a different class and or even under the same class, but with a different description of services. So you don't want the whole point of a trademark is not to have confusion between 2 different companies for the service they're offering, right? I could start a company called Apple and I couldn't sell computers, obviously, but I could sell, cars, right? Apple might have a trademark, related, a description of services related or product related to cars. So I'm not sure about that, but something just whatever, right? Sidewalk concrete, something like that, right? They probably don't have a trademark for concrete. So I could come up with some special new concrete, right? And call it Apple, right? And I could probably get a trademark for it, right? Because it's a unique service offering. Okay. So you can have the same name used as long as it's used for different types of offerings. Okay. So here, these guys filed under 3 different classes. Internet, I'm not going to read all this, but, entertainment services, organizing of games, competitions, arranging, development of computer hardware, computer games, design of development. Typically when you're doing a trademark, you want to keep it generic. You want to include as much stuff and as you possibly can in the description of services or product, but you want to keep it generic. The broader it is, the more things it's going to cover, right? In a courtroom. Okay. So let's look at this guy's prosecution history on his application process, because all that matters typically is who files first and who is using it first when it's all said and done. So this guy started his application August 16th, 2019. Okay, new application filed in Tram. Okay, so he probably filed online. So usually if you see that date, then he filed like a week before that or so. It usually takes him a week to get it entered in. So assigned to examiner, non-final action written, non-final action emailed, notification of non-final action emailed. So he's still in process. So this is not a dead mark. So this guy is still in process. He's answering, office requests for information, basically. From, it gets assigned to an attorney. You can actually usually see the attorney right here. So this lady here, Taraban, it's in her office, so she's actually the one who's going to be, reviewing this trademark and dealing with it. Okay. Um, um, so again, you can look at the current ownership right here, Low Volt Limited, whatever that is, Great Yarmouth, United Kingdom. Don't know who that is. And again, you can see, again, this is international, right? So there's a treaty with the U.S. with like 100 and 200 countries or something, 150, 200 countries, where they all agreed to abide by the same, trademarks. So they would honor them internationally even. So it's just a standard word mark. There's no characterization. It's just a standard word, right? A lot of times you can stylize this and make it unique. But this is just a standard word mark, right? So it's just the term subverse. This guy's registered under 3 classes, starting in, what was that, August? Prosecution history. So he started, August 16th is when it entered into. I don't know when he claimed. When you fill out the application, you're gonna select first in use. You have to put that date in. And so that date's really what matters, okay, is first in use. That's who technically has claim to the mark, as long as they catch it before it's registered. I'll explain I'll explain on the other one. All right, so now let's look at this last mark here that's still existing. This one is filed under class 41, which would be a conflicting class and a conflicting description of services. Remember that other description of services was similar to this. They added in news, but it wouldn't be unique enough to be to not cause confusion. So this mark and that other mark are in conflict already. Okay. So now let's look at this mark. And this mark was the owner is Tim Poole, doing business as Tim Cast, individual, United States. He's from Township, New Jersey. Okay. So now let's look at the prosecution history on this trademark. All right. So prosecution history, April. All right. So it entered into he filed this application back last April, 2019. Okay. He filed for a trademark. I'm not going to get into all the drama that's going on around it right now. All I'm doing is giving a little tutorial on how to do a trademark search and what things to look for to see who actually has ownership and who has rightful claim to names and brands and things like that. Okay. So this was actually entered in April 11th, 2019. Okay. So that other mark started in August. Okay. So these guys have the advantage there. Timcast has the advantage over this other person's mark. But that other person might have claimed first use. He might have been using the brand for a year before we filed this trademark, whereas this guy just started using it, right? So all that matters is that first claim. If you can prove first usage, because when you submit your application, you have to prove, you send in what's called a specimen, and you show when it was first used and how it was first used, and you try to verify the date, document the date. Otherwise, you're just going to make it the date of the application. Or you can say, I plan on using this mark in the future also, right? So this is, let's see who the staff is. If it's the same lady, it'd be funny. No, Michael Engel, generic web update. That's weird. Whatever. Law Office 107 is the same office. So that's the prosecution history. It's a long history here. So let's look at it. Application entered in TRAM, again, April 11th. New application subpoena entered into TRAM. Assigned to examining attorney. That's about standard time. Approved for publication. That's impossible. You don't get a trademark assigned to an examining attorney and get it approved for publication the same day. Okay, that is it takes 3 months. That's a 3-month process. It's a painful process too. So that's something very fishy there. Either this is some kind of a mess up or something happened here. That is really weird. Unless it's a transfer. No, that's really weird right there. Okay, anyway, notification of notice of publication. published for opposition, published in the Gazette, extension of time to oppose received. So apparently somebody filed, is opposing the mark, and they filed on August 15th. So maybe it's that other trademark. Maybe it's the drama that's going around this name. I don't know. You'd have to look. You can dig in here and see all the different forms, but yeah, that's really weird. Jurisdiction restored to examining attorney. Previous allowance count withdrawn. Suspension letter written. Letter of suspension emailed. Notification of letter of suspension emailed. Letter of protest accepted. So the mark was suspended. So he got it rejected. And now he's protesting it. So it's in protest state as of September 9th. And letter of protest evidence reviewed. No further action taken. Report completed. Suspension check case still suspended. So it's suspended, I guess. Not exactly sure what's going on there with that. That's a really weird process. I've looked at hundreds of prosecution histories of trademarks in my day, and that's a weird one. I've never seen that one before. I'd have to ask one of the attorneys there what all that means, or what that case would be. It's a unique case. But again, the ownership is Tim Pool, Tim Cast. There's his address, basic information. I mean, that's not his personal address. I'm sure it's his business address or his attorney's address typically. Don't yell at me for doxing. If I can find, I'll attach a link if I can find the document, the letters that were written. Here they are. All right, so here we go. Let's see who filed this. Could be interesting. Notice of publication, OG publication confirmation, administrative response, suspension letter. All right, let's see who filed this 90-day extension on the op-ed. Brad at R. Cindy. I don't know. Oh, it's United Kingdom. So it's this guy, it's this Zovolt company. So that other trademark I looked at that I showed you earlier, they're contesting, and they've won the battle apparently for control of the trademark. So this whole discussion in battle over the name Subverse is a moot point because some dude in England owns it. Anyway, celebrities, what are you going to do? So that's how you do a trademark search. It's very interesting stuff. Again, USPTO is a great office. Costs about $275 to register a trademark online. You should always do it. Domain name ownership doesn't matter. All that matters is a trademark. Thanks. I'm Derek from New and Dangerous Opinions. Have a good day. Bye-bye.